version of the Necromancer healer. I race changed it from an Argonian to a Breton, just for a little bit better sustain. Don't really need the healing output anymore, because healing, let's be honest, is ridiculously easy. If you can heal on a Templar and a Sorc, and you can heal on anything, especially Necros and Wardens. So, gonna go right into it. So for gear setup, I found the best combo is Spell Power and Pillagers. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be running Decisive on the front bar, just for that extra ulti gen. Because the faster you can get your ulti gen up, the more buffs you can provide, especially with Warhorn and stuff. So we're gonna look at Pillagers real quick first at the stats. So you got double stats, but if you look at the passives on the 5-piece particularly, you get a buttload of ultimate every time you cast your ultimate. So what I like to do is, if you notice the math on this, is I generally try to cast it when it gets to around like 300 to 400 for the ulti number, because it gives you a pretty big chunk of ulti gen for all your teammates. Plus it with the Nazare here, it gives you a pretty nice debuff buff timer. Anyway, and you don't have to use the perfected pillagers, you can use the non-perfected, but you know, if you can get the perfected gear, it's always better to try to get the perfected and run that if you can. If you can't, you know, again, it is fine, it works almost as well, it's a very minimal difference, but perfected is always going to be better. But you want to have your weapon damage enchantment increasing your weapon and spell damage on this front bar on your restoration staff, because you're going to be doing heavies with your resto. Even if you're not running Roaring Opportunist for the heavy attack, you know, more heavy attack build, you're still going to be wanting to do at least one heavy attack every rotation, just to help keep your resources up and to give you your major mending and other such buffs. And then that weapon damage is just it's a nice boost to your healing output. So then your back bar is going to be a lightning. I don't, as you can see, have the perfected lightning staff yet. That and the world dagger are still being kind of elusive for me. But you want to run the back bar lightning, and you want to do it infused with a crusher enchant for a couple reasons. One, just because you don't get 100% uptime off of the tanks crusher enchant, so this just gives you a little bit more uptime on it, hopefully. Plus the tanks are generally going to be more focused on, you know, the bosses or the main ads, whereas you could apply this to, you know, the more mob and trash pulls a little bit more easily. There's really nothing better you can put on there, so I mean, why not? An alternative would be you could put the weapon and spell damage on the back with an infused, and on the decisive front bar you could put like a mag recovery glyph or something like that. Or if you wanted to go for more damaged version, you could put on a flame glyph on your front bar staff and then put the weapon and spell damage glyph on your back bar. Either way, it's a pretty good setup no matter how you do it. So then, as I already showed you, Nazare for the monster set. So when you use this, it's going to extend all of the buffs and debuffs, the majors and minors. That's great. That's just going to help the damage output in general. I guess it's just the debuffs, not buffs, but either way, it's a really nice thing to have, because all of the tank debuffs, healer debuffs, any of the damage debuffs, you know, like elemental catalyst or any of that kind of stuff, is going to extend that duration and give you a little bit more damage output for your group. An alternative would be to run Symphony of Blades, which is another really good healer set. Earthgore and Bogdan are a little bit, they're not really used as much, they're kind of an old meta now, but I mean, if that's all you can get, that's still okay to use. But I wouldn't use it in sweatier content. And then of course your Spell Power here, a must-have for pretty much any healer. Spell Power is just one of the best healer sets in the game right now. But you're going to run body pieces, all light divines, just like always. And then the jewelry is going to be arcane, just for the extra max magicka, increasing your weapon and spell damage even further. specifically spell damage, but everything scales off of both now. And I don't know why I have weapon damage on there. That's supposed to be spell damage. Whoopsie. I'm gonna need to fix that. But you want to have spell damage glyphs on your jewelry. I don't know how the fuck I managed to screw that up, but I'll have to fix that after this video. But you want the spell damage glyphs on your jewelry, not the weapon damage. I don't know why I did that. So then for Mundus Stone, you have a couple options. I prefer the Thief just to give you a little bit more crit healing, because I don't really need the mag recovery. I also don't really find any of the other Mundus particularly helpful for the build I'm running, so Thief seems to be the way to go. But if you want to, you could also run Ritual, or you could run this one right here, Jesus Healing Done. Or you could run that bad boy, increasing your spell damage, but I mean, I already have plenty of spell damage. I'd have more if I actually had the right glyphs on my stuff. But that's what you do for the Mundus Stone, and then for the food, just use the basic damage parse food. Ghastly Eyeball. So then for the skills, what I'm running is your Illustrious Healing from the Restoration Staff. Then you got your Combat Prayer from the Restoration Staff. And you got your Life Amid Death, which can be found right here in Living Death. It's this one right here. That's a really good spammable, plus it's a nice kind of AoE heal over time if you consume a corpse. Then you got your Necrotic Potency. Now, Necrotic Potency is just there to help you gain more ulti faster. So when you're doing mob pulls and stuff, you can get a shitload of ulti back just by consuming the corpses. Plus it heals you a little bit. Now while it's slotted, your damage taken is reduced, which is also nice. Because it makes you a little bit more sustainable. Even if you're not using it, just having it on that front bar will make you a little bit less squishy on your healer. And then of course your Siphon Spirit. So this is where you're getting your minor Magicka Steal, and it also provides minor Life Steal. So anything attacking the enemies that you applied this to not only will have better mag recovery, but it'll actually heal them while they do damage, which is not a lot of health, but any health, any healing that you can get while you're dealing damage in content is good. So then of course you're going to be using Aggressive Warhorn. So Aggressive Warhorn is pretty much a must-have for every healer at this point. Unless you're running like Sax Heal or something like that, which again isn't generally meta anymore, but there are a few builds that you can still get away with running it, like Nightblaze or Magicka Sorcerer healers. But either way, Aggressive Warhorn is a really good ultimate to have, and that can be found right down here in the Assault skill line. It's way up at the top there. So back bar, you're going to have your Energy Orb from the Undaunted. That's your healing orb. Could do the damage orb if you're trying to be, if you're with like a core team who doesn't need as much heals, but if you're doing hard mode content, I would recommend keeping that healing orb on instead of the damage version, because you're gonna need the heals. Got your Blockade of Storms here. Now, I like the Blockade better than the Unstable, just because it has a wider area to apply the debuff from the back bar enchantment. And the Storms also does apply minor vulnerability, which isn't a huge deal since you're going to be applying that anyway. But, and it's just a nice thing to have, a little bit extra damage too. Then you got your Agony Totem. So the Agony Totem is going to be found right in here in Bone Tyrant. It's the second to last ability. And this bad boy is how you're going to get your minor vulnerability applied. Now, the only downside is, unlike the Wardens, the Necro's minor vulnerability is only melee range, so you have to like run up to apply it. So say the boss is right there on this ethereal well, right? Well, I'm healing back here, right? You know, I'm doing my thing, so then I gotta run up. You can just quick run up, pop it, and come back if you're close enough. But if you're doing something like Vet Asylum, Sanctorum, you know, Vass, if you're doing something like that, you're not gonna be able to get up on the boss like that to apply that. So that's one of the reasons you have that lightning wall, and hopefully you're going to have a warden in the group to apply the Fetcher Flies. Anyway, so back to the skills. After the Agony Totem, you've got your Stalking Blast Bones. Now the reason I have that on the LB instead of one of the main buttons over here is just because it's not going to be something you necessarily have to use a lot, but I end up using it anyway, even though it's not super necessary. So what I use it for is when you use the blast bones, it's going to target an enemy, and it does have a decent range on it. So when you cast it, the blast bones will run up to the enemy and then drop a corpse. So I'm going to display over here on the dummy why that's good. So from back here, say I'm range healing, say I'm in Vetma Lorcajon twins, right? And I just got conversions, so now I'm on the other side. Both healers are on the same side. The other side isn't getting any heals. So I can just look across the room there at the other boss, cast my blast bones, swap to my other bar, and then boom, I got a ranged heal over time that purges the whole group. Pew pew, it's super OP. It doesn't last for very long, but it's easy to keep that going for long enough just to keep the people alive. Plus, as you saw there, 1 second it did over 10k damage. Which, you know, just dealing that amount of damage as a healer is going to help out the fights. I mean, it's just added damage, plus it's a good tooltip type of ability for ranged healing, ranged purging. And if you don't need it for that, you can always just use it to gain ulti off the corpse, your front bar ability right here, the necrotic potency. So it's just a good combo ability, and then of course your overflowing altar. Now this bad boy isn't necessarily for the health steal, it gives to everything in the area, although that is super nice. Mostly it's just for the massive AoE heal you get by activating it. So if you read the tooltip here, allies in the area can activate the Blood Feast synergy healing for 65% of their max health. Now if that isn't the best oh shit heal in the game, I don't know what is. And it doesn't cost any mag. Cast it, so you can literally just cast it over and over and over. Up, you're low health, boom, you're back at hell, you can keep casting it. So every rotation, I just go ahead and cast that. That way if one of the tanks or one of the damages needs an oh shit, it's always there and available. I recommend doing that on any healer classes, having that ability and using it for that reason. And then back bar, of course, you're going to use your Necro Res ulti. That's just kind of a oh shit kind of moment, because you never know when you might need to res your team if you're running in the pug. Hopefully that won't happen in core groups, but it's just a nice kind of safety net to have there. You're only going to really be using aggressive horn, but some content you might want to be running barrier. I don't have it morphed on this character yet. It's one of my newer healers, but it is another ability that works really well, particularly sack seal. But that's the ability setup. So then for champion points, so the green over here doesn't really matter a whole lot, but for the blue, what I do is I run Fighting Finesse to increase your critical healing and critical damage. Soothing Tide for increased healing done, area effects. Focus Mending, single target heal, swift renewal, healing over time. Just a pretty good setup, and all that stuff is going to be over here, except for this one. So then the red tree, this is going to be your regen, how you get your recoveries. So decrease the time it takes to res. Generally healers aren't going to res, but if you do need to res, you want that res time to be as short as possible so you can get back to healing and buffing. So I just run that just as a little tooltip. And I had been doing a lot of DSR, so I just kind of decided to put this on there because why not? But you could also use this instead, so you could go like that instead of the slippery, and then just that, and then come down and rejuvenation, just a little bit more recovery, and boundless vitality. Just a little bit more health, help you a little bit more sustainable, but you could also use any number of things in this red tree to help with your sustain. It's really just on your play style and your build, but that's what I'm running. Hopefully it helped a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them down in the comment section or just message me on Xbox. Hopefully this was a help to you guys. See you next time.